welcome back to my channel. So today I will talk to you about my year of 2021 in books. I spoke about Goodread and Scribd in another video that I have. I can put the link up above or down below, and I actually want to get more in depth on what my favorite books of this year was. And to start off, I wasn't even reading for the entire month. I mainly just read within the last 4 to 5 months of the year, and already the year is over. And it was pretty fast because last year, 2020, even though we were in basically a lockdown, so you would think, okay, find something to pass the time, books, but I still didn't find Scribd until this year, or this past year of 2021. So I actually read 60 books this year in 4 to 5 months, where last year I only read 8 and my goal was 10. So I kept that same goal of 10 this year as I did the last, but 78. Crazy. So I've read 2 genres basically. One was the business aspect and the other was fictional aspect. I'm not that great with non-fictional. I don't really like the history and the truth and all the what you should not do and do, but I'm more into like the fantasy, the fairy tales, the out of this world, maybe even some science fiction if they throw that. They probably did throw that into some of these books here. Romance, and that's my area. Okay. So I have a list of all the books. I'll probably put it here or there where it'll just scroll through what was the highest rated book on Goodread, what was the highest number of pages compared to the lowest, and then it has just a big giant list of everything, right? And I mainly want to talk about just a few, because 70 books, that's a lot of books to go through, and I'm not good at doing full reviews, but I will talk about certain points that I thought were good, and I have it here on my phone as well. So the book that really started me even wanting to do this video was a book called Your Best Year Ever. And I'm so glad that I was able to find this book this year. Like, basically, I'm taping this video, we have less than a week until the new year starts. And when I saw this book, I didn't know if I was going to finish it before the year was over, but because I'm listening to books, they go faster, and I'm at work, so I'm not doing anything that could distract me and make me want to stop it. So I finished it, and I read this one in a book called Eat That Frog. Now, I read Eat That Frog first, but when I read this, Your Best Year Ever, it actually told me to not do what the Eat That Frog said, and that was pretty funny, because in my business, we read obviously business books, and Eat That Frog was not one of the recommended books, but I read it anyway because I was told about it, so I'm like, let me read it, let it be one of the first ones. And then to find Your Best Year Ever talk about that book, I found that funny, and I tend to see that a lot in common whenever something's happening in life, even if I'm not realizing it, something gets brought up from something before, and this was an exact example of that. So Your Best Year Ever, it got me back into planning because it's talking about how to not procrastinate, what to do first. So in Eat That Frog, they say, do the thing that you don't want to do first. Get that out the way so that you can do the little ones first. Do the little ones faster and get them out the way because the big one is done. But in Your Best Year Ever, it says to do the opposite. It says do the little things first, the ones that you know will take no time, as well as doing the ones that will take that most time, and basically do them at the same time and get whatever you think you're going to be able to get done, get it done. And then that got me back into planning. And I did planning before. You can see videos down below of what I've done for my planning, scrapbooking and memory keeping, but that was what it was. It was just memory keeping. It wasn't planning for the future. It was just looking in the past, and that's not what you want to do. You want to move forward. So I'm so glad that this came back into my life for me to read. I I also read The Secret. I was recommended this book millions of times. I see people all over YouTube saying, hey, you should read this book. It's really good with law of attraction and seeing that what you're attracting in your life now could eventually be something for the future that you're not even aware of, but because you put it out there into the universe, it can come back to you even 10 times more than what you thought it was going to be just by you speaking it and thinking and putting positive energy into it. Now going back into 2020, right? The reason that there was only 8 books was mainly because my sister actually brought up, and I think I talked about this before, but she decided randomly to get the book called The Selection, and this has 6 books in the series. And when I got the physical copy in my hand and she said that I can read it, I said thank you, and I started reading it, and I could not, that was one of the books that I could not put down. And I knew that if I was to read these books, I need to get them done ASAP. So I would stay up until like 4 or 5 a.m. reading the first book, and then the next day go on to the second, and the cycle would continue until I was done with at least the first 3 books. When it got to the other 3, I was like, it's not the same, because the story progressed into a different character, and I didn't really like that second character. So I also have in Goodread, you can make your own book lists or book shelves, and I have a to buy list and I have a business list. So anything for the business that I know that I'm going to need, I put it in that list because that's for me to buy, to have the physical copy. But for that to buy list that I have, I know The Selection is in there, number 1. And by it being by Kiera, I also looked into, okay, what other books does she have that I can look up on Scribd? And she actually had The Betrothed and The Betrayed. And I was actually very on the fence about those 2 books because I didn't know if I was going to want to put them in my to buy section, because the first book, kind of dark, not really, but it was more like the big ball gown, the big princess, either the duke or the king wanted to marry her, and it was like something up my alley that I would want to read. But there was just something about it that didn't really catch me to want to buy it until I read the second book, which is, I believe it's The Betrothed or The Betrayed. I don't know. It's one of the 2. And then when I finished, that's another book I couldn't put down. So Kiera is good for me to continuously get through. But by the end of it, I knew, okay, these are the 2. I will put this on my to buy list. So those are very, very nice to have. And then that brought me into The Siren, also by Kiera. The Siren, now this is a dark story. Before I even started reading on Scribd, I would listen to Spotify, and Spotify has these 2 podcasts that are called either Mythology or Tales, and they are dark as well. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm getting into dark things, and I don't like that because I'm very into the pretty and friendly and girly type genres. But for some reason I knew I would liked mythology because of it being the gods and the supernatural, the unknown, and I just found that, okay, I would be interested in this because I know of Hercules, I know of Zeus and Athena, and it's like I don't know all the gods, so I'm like, why not just take a stab at this and hear of more of the ones that I don't know of and who I do know of, but not exactly what their story is. So when I saw that Kiera had the sirens, now this is another mythological creature or thing, I don't know how to describe it. Now there were either 2 types that I know of. There's are they the sirens, and then those bird type creatures that are part women. They start with an H, I can't remember what they're called. And I knew that the sirens are the ones that are at the sea, where the men on the boats, they would sing their song, and then the men would get drawn to them, and they would go towards rocks and crash the boat and all die. And so when I heard the Siren, I was like, okay, let's take a stab at it. I mean, there's nothing else for me to really listen to. I wasn't fully into script yet where I could find a bunch of things. I'm in the middle of work, so either I found it and I'm going to listen to it or I'm not. But it was actually a very good read. This was a one book compared to her like 6 and 2 series books, and it was like, okay, I want something that could be quick, that I don't have to listen to long time. This is just one quick book, and that actually was pretty cool. Yeah. What's next? Going back into the business aspects, I also read books like The Influencer, I Said the Secret. What else do I have on this list? Sorry, it's loading. We have The Five Love Languages. Now that was one that I needed to read. I took the test, but I never read the book, so now I did, and I'm glad that I was able to get that on here. I also found, what else did I find? That is business related though, not going into the series yet. The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. That's a good one too, by Darren Hardy. So there's multiples that I only thought that I would be able to get in person in hand, but thanks for Scribd for having these all accessible to me, and I can use my time wisely and get these things done and not have to just either sit there and not listen to anything and just mindlessly doing my work, or educate myself while doing something for someone else. Do it for yourself, and then you can use that long ways down the road of your life, rather than you're only doing your work for your job and then that's it. So going back into the fairy tales and all that, I came across a series that I would have never found had it not been for Scribd again, and this is The Fire Prophecy. I've also spoke about this. This is another 6-book series. Now this is like the ultimate series that I found that has like familiars, which are those little animal friends that everyone gets, especially like in Disney movies, like the chameleon for Tangled, and who else? I don't know. The kind of creatures that they have too are ones that you never really even hear of. Like I think one has what is it, like a cockatrice? Someone else has. Do you know in the movie Anastasia, that little white bat looking evil pet friend to the bad guy? The main character has a familiar who looks like that. There's dragons, there's regular dogs and cats. Someone has a unicorn, a fire unicorn. Like it's so many different things. And like this is the ultimate. They go to this magical school where they all go and learn to use their magic, and then something bad happens, obviously, because hence the 6 books, and now they have to go and this is the type of book where either you are in the story and you have to go along with the rules and regulations that they put on everyone to follow, or you're going to break the rules because you're seeing that this is not the way that life is supposed to be, and you're going to try and find a way to fix that with the group of friends that you find. And this is one of those books, and that draw me to it because I tend to gravitate towards things like, if you don't like where you are, you're going to do what it takes for you to see that you can do a change. If it's not for the situation that you're in, but maybe for yourself, like, okay, if I can't change this, try and change your look on it and figure out, okay, what's the best alternative to where I am, and that will eventually make it better and put a positive spin on it. Another book, and that was by Megan Linsky, and I think she also wrote it with someone else, Alicia Radis. I think those two were the main authors for the two, or maybe that's their next book series that they put. They're all like purple, black, and blue, so you'll find it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like even the book cover drew me in, and they always say don't judge a book by its cover, but yeah, that's exactly what I did to find these books. Another book series that I found, of course, was there was a Cinderella series. It was called City of Wishes. That one didn't really get me as well as the Fire Prophecy series did, but then another one was called the Jewel, and this is a trilogy of three-part book series, and this is again another series where they had to live in this world where the girls were made to be like, have you, it reminds me of that movie that everyone talks about, or that series. It's called like The Handmaid's Tale or something. And this one is basically the girls are taken from their families and they are made to become surrogates for the rich. And then the boys are taken away and they are made to be companions to the rich. And once again, the main characters did not like that, and they had to find a way to change the way that life is, or just go along with the years of this very bad, it's not sabotage, but I can't even find the word right now, but just like, would you want to live like that? Like, no, like they found a way to change how they are dealing with the situations, and I like books like that. I don't know why, like it's just something that, like, there's a drive, there's a reason to have that. And that's basically all I have for this year. Like, out of 70 books, there's so many more that I've read this year, but those were the main ones that I can talk about, mainly because they were the longest too. And the ones, of course, they're dark too, so yeah, they had a little bit of a you're not gonna forget this in these vibe to them. So thanks for listening to my little rant. And I thought that doing this every year might be better than doing it every month, because I don't think in 1 month I found a good group of books that were enough for me to say, like, hey, I can do a video on this. So thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again in my next video. Bye!